We talk about a lot that idea, or I talk about a lot about that idea that when you cross your feet, you commit your hips, you don't move. So this is a good way when your opponent does that to you, you can take advantage of that pause. Because every time they latch onto you and cross their feet or hold onto you, you know that their mindset is more about hanging onto you and not about actually moving. So what we're going to do, we're going to work from a position that's like the 3/4 mount, which is where I get here, but then my partner turns on his side and he grabs hold of my foot, like this. And you know, there's, like, I don't like to say right, wrong. To me, these words don't really apply. Maybe he just needs to catch his wind for a second. So he just wants to hold on to keep me from progressing. But by doing so, he's telling me that he's staying in this spot, even if it's for a second. So what you're gonna do, the foot that he's clamped onto, I'm just gonna turn you this way. My ankle is gonna hook onto his shin. So I kind of lock myself onto him. Then I want to put my body perpendicular to his. I'm going to move and turn towards his hip, just like this. And you can see how my body's going this way. We're like a cross. Whichever side I go, the lead shoulder dives down. Now I stretch, and I maintain the hook. And this is what we're going to really focus on today. You're going to cycle back and forth between controlling the legs and attacking the back. But by keeping this hook, it allows me to extend to get access to his hips. I can also retract, giving me access to his legs. And your attacks will work back and forth between these two controls. And you see how easy it is for me to segue into the lockdown from here. You can transition, taking that instep off, hook and hook. Now I'm dominating that inside leg, which means I have control over his hips. All we're going to work on right now is just getting here, and then all I want you guys to do is you can bring the knees in, hold the knee. We have like leg lock submissions here, calf locks, but at the core of this position, I create extension. Now I hook his arm, and I'm on his back for the finish. It's how we get to the back from the mount. And this is all, like I said, it's all decided by him deciding to hold on to my foot, not allowing my foot to come out to go to full mount. He holds. So your trapped foot reaches over and just hook onto his shin. Now we need to create the angle. So I move my body this way. See how my leg kicks back? And I'm facing right over the direction of his hips. And now my lead shoulder, the shoulder that's close to his shoulder, dives. And when I dive, I lock onto his shin and stretch. See where his hips go. I just really need to just hold on to one arm. Now I have access to his back. Maybe he's defending tight, not giving me the elbow control. I bring the legs back in. We can start working here. Be very careful in these transitions. Don't allow this arm to dangle between his legs. That is a vulnerability. So this arm has to be kind of always hiding it. This arm is okay. But in addition to the different ways we can finish, it's just the control, how I control my opponent's hips going back and forth. Main reason why I like to show it this way, you guys can definitely practice coming all the way to the back, but more important, I want you guys to practice and understand how much control you have just getting here. You see how my back is on the ground, but I'm still controlling his foot. For more control, you can set up the lockdown right here. This gives you your anchor to this leg, and now you see Keith, his hip can't go anywhere. And then it's my knees come up or my knees go out. So what is your preference? Do you prefer to go after the lower body, or do you want to go straight for the neck and the finish? Okay, let's one more time. I'm going to turn you this way, Keith, so they can see the feet. Whichever side they hold, you see how my foot anchors over his top leg. I attach myself to his shin. That instep is hooking. Now I swing this leg back, line myself with his hip, my shoulder goes down, now I extend. You can always go into the lockdown from here. A lot of times that control is enough to get you to the back. Then you can detach and make your hooks and go for the finish. Okay, any questions? Yes?
When you do that, so go back to the very beginning of it real quick, and then as you do that first little back step, are you worried? Is there any worry about the knee or getting twisted as you do that back step before you go for the roll?
No, because I'm not locking my feet onto him. It's merely the 1 foot anchoring. Okay. So it's not like my foot is moving independent of my knee, okay, or my knee is moving independent of my hip. And I can always, it's never happened, but if you feel weird, just release the lock.
Gotcha.
But without that hook on his shin, when I go to roll, see, I don't have the control. Now, Keith, extend your legs. You take my back. So by anchoring, I'm locking his hip at the same time keeping the control for me. And that's going to be the common defense, is he's going to try to secure my leg as I'm turning to take my back. So that's why it's so important. When you get here, I have to have that lock. And when I pivot and drop, extend. My leg is already extended. Now I've already got access to his hips. And like I said, I can continue to stretch to go after his back, hook the arm, or just bring my legs in, hold his leg. I have a nice calf lock here. You can start to stretch them out, but this is always a byproduct. It's always buried in there. If you just want to take the back and choke the guy, you can. But having the ability to go back and forth allows you to deal with whatever defense he puts in front of you. Okay? Good? Yes?
All right, so can we say, following Brando's questions, at the beginning is like a loose quarter guard. As you spinning, you extending that quarter guard with that hook. So it's kind of loose.
No. That's why when I start to spin, he's anchored onto me. When I start to spin, I must anchor on him.
Oh, okay.
That's why you'll see variations of guys, they'll do this. They'll spin and they put the lock down.
Yeah.
That's another really, really great option. You can do this. For me, this is just something that just works for me, but if you want a little bit more control, yeah, now I go straight into the lockdown from here. Because now I'm controlling his hip.
Yes, sir.
But I know, and you guys can work both variations, but this always seemed to help me from the standpoint, if he's holding me here like this, and he's sideways, and just kind of like on your side, if I start to turn and start to do this, I'm giving him the dead giveaway of what I want. But by anchoring, it's like he has no time to react. And then I will almost always go into this control once I have him on his back. I'm here. Once I get to this point, then I'll switch. But this needs to be tight. So when you're on top, that's hooking.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yes, sir.
That's a great question. Make sense?
Thank you, sir. Absolutely.
You're welcome. You guys good? Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Keith. A little fun. Position. This is like you go to the mount, and what's one of the most common ways our opponents try to defend against the mount? They grab onto that foot. It's like a 3/4 mount. And if they clamp onto it, that is the opportune time to slide right into this technique. It's not a position where I get to the mount, they start to escape, and then I hook, and then I go. You can do that maybe on somebody who's not familiar with the technique, but anybody with a little bit of experience, they're gonna jump, they'll see it coming a mile away. This is something you're transitioning, you go into the mount, they grab onto that foot, you immediately exchange controls. They grab my foot, I grab their foot, and you go. So very, very important from an offensive standpoint, how you apply it. But as always, I always like to interject the flip side of what we're doing now. This is going to make you even more acutely aware of how committed you are to holding on to your opponent when you're on your back and you're trying to survive and escape. Sometimes clinging is not the best option. Okay? Any questions? Awesome, I like it. Let's go. The gentleman up front I'm going to be chatting with for a few minutes. So you guys, it's even number. 7 rounds, we might go disrespect level. No, wait, 6 rounds, we might go disrespect level, so I'll let you guys know, all right? Thanks, guys. Let's go.